Angelo with Dolce D'Angelo, and today we're going to be making rainbow cookies or tricolor cookies. There's a lot of recipes out there that use almond paste, and everyone always asks me how to make my rainbow cookies, which I like doing because it doesn't have almond paste. It has almond extract in it, and it's not that expensive. That's why I make so much during the holidays and hand them out like platefuls. So I got this recipe from my Zia Mima a long time ago when I lived in New York. What you'll need to do first, that's a little time consuming, is taking out your 6 eggs and 3 sticks of salted butter and keep them at room temperature anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. So what you need to do first is turn your oven on to 350. And what I like to do is crack my eggs into a bowl so it's easy. You won't get any shells in there. Just in case, you crack an egg and the shell falls in, then you gotta go pick it, and you don't want nobody eating cookies with shells in it. So, and then you're gonna take your 3 sticks of butter, I'm gonna cream our butter. You're gonna add 3/4 cups of sugar. You're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. Like, there's not enough butter that you have to add 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. It's gonna make a difference, but you gotta follow the recipe. Never change your baking recipes. They always have to be precise. I've learned that from my daughter Christina. She's a chef in Manhattan, and she went to culinary school, and she told me she doesn't really like baking because it's gotta be accurate. She loves to cook because you can create and do anything. So now you're going to add your 6 eggs, one at a time. Stop it halfway and scrape down your bowl. And add the rest of your eggs. So your next step is going to be, you're going to add your almond extract. Make sure it's pure almond extract. If you can't find it, you can use imitation, and you'll need about a tablespoon of the almond extract. And you're going to stop the machine because now we add the flour. We don't want a mess in our kitchen. 1 cup of flour, and you'll need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And start it slowly. You don't want a dust cloud. For about a minute maybe. Halfway, I like to scrape down my bowl. I'm going to get all the ingredients mixed very well. And that's it. Now we have some fun making some colors. So now you're going to take your batter, and we're going to separate our batter into 3 bowls because we're going to make obviously 3 colors. We're only going to make 2 colors. One stays white. Or if you want to make another color, you can. You can have fun with it. At Christmas time, obviously, you're going to make them in red, white, and green, the traditional Italian colors and Christmas colors. So what I like to do is, to get an equal measurement, I always use a scale. You don't have to use a scale. You could just use a measuring cup and just try to measure it. It's got to be, you want each layer to be the same size. You don't want one layer thicker than the other. So what you need to do is, I always still use my scooper. About a cup in each bowl. And then what I like to do too is, like I said, I like to use a scale to get accurate from each layer to be the same size. So I'll just measure each bowl. I try to get it as accurate as I can. As long as I get it at 1.15. Yep, that's fine. That's good enough. So now what you're going to do is just add a little bit of green into one bowl and start mixing it. A little more. And then you're going to do a red one. And red, you always need extra because we don't want pink colors. And the last one, you're going to leave white, of course. Okay, so now for the next step, you'll need just baking pans. I always like the throwaway one. The sizes are 11 by 3/4 by 9 1/4 and by 1.5 inches. If you go bigger, your layers are gonna come thinner. So you always, if you can't find the same size, always go a little smaller. Your layers will be thicker. So, and we need to spray each one with Pam. Even though there's lots of butter in these, trust me, I've done it where I forgot my Pam and they stuck. Then I ended up throwing them out, which I know some people would have ate them no matter what. So what you're gonna do now is, you can start with any color and you're gonna start just try to spread. I know the batter is very little. And you're gonna try and spread it in your pan as even as you can. And don't fuss so much with it, because once these go in the oven, because of the 3 sticks of butter, if you think about it, there's probably a stick of butter in each one. That's why these cookies are so good. The butter will melt and it will just look like glass once it's in the oven. So don't worry too much about getting it really even. Doesn't matter any order. And last is white. And we're gonna put these in your 350-degree oven. We're gonna bake them for about anywhere from 10 to about 12 minutes. All right, let's get these babies in the oven. And I'll show you in about a minute, you'll see how it looks like glass, that you know you don't have to fuss with it. And like I said, it looks just like glass. So we're just gonna let them cool down for a few minutes. What we're gonna do now, lift each layer, start like scraping the sides a little bit on it. So what you're gonna do is just flip it onto your board. Voila, perfect. And then while that's cooling, I like to start doing the same to my other 2 cakes. That's ready to go. So the next step is, what you're gonna do is use basically jelly. I like to use apricot preserves. I can't find it in jelly, so if you do find it in jelly, please let me know. So just make sure it's a little bit cool. And what you're gonna do now is start spreading your jelly, just like a thin coat. Now because this is preserves, you're gonna have some little chunky apricots. I usually take those out, just basically as even as possible. Okay, next you're gonna take your white layer. We're gonna flip over again. So now if you don't get it exact, like I didn't right here, what I like to do is just push it. That's it. It's that simple. And if your layers do break in between while you're flipping over, don't worry, because we're gonna cut these into little squares. Okay, so now we're gonna put the last layer. Do the same thing, make sure it's even. All right, and there's your 3-color cookies. All right, so now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna put a thin layer of chocolate. So what you'll need is semi-sweet chocolate morsels. About a cup, I usually do per side because we're gonna flip this over. So you need 1 cup, about 30 seconds, 2 times in the microwave. You don't need to get out your double boiler or anything. Like I said, these are so easy to do. It literally takes no time to make them. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your chocolate, and I just pour it because I know 1 cup is gonna be enough for that whole top layer. And then you're just gonna spread a thin coat. So see, it's that simple. Like literally, I've come home from work where my daughter has texted me and tells me that in 5 hours she has to go to a Halloween party. My daughter Stephanie, can you make me rainbow cookies in candy corn colors? And I'm like, what? So of course I don't know how to say no to my children, and I'll come home real quick, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and what I do is, because we live in South Florida, I'll take my 3 sticks of butter and put them outside for a little bit because the sun's right there, and within 2 hours my butter's melted. I make the cookies for her and they're all ready to go. What I do is I like putting them in the refrigerator at this point, but if you're in a hurry, like that time when I was making the cookies for Stephanie, I put them in the freezer. You want the chocolate to get hard, because what you need to do next, get another piece of parchment paper. You're gonna lay it down and you're gonna flip this over, and you're gonna do the same thing. Chocolate, melt it, put it on top, and there you go. chocolate looks good, we're ready to cut these now. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is once you take them out of the refrigerator, just slide it onto your counter. What you need to do is let it sit for a little bit, like about 30 minutes, because you want the chocolate to get a little bit of room temperature, because if you start cutting it right away, it will start cracking and falling apart. Okay, so there's no any right way or wrong way of cutting these. You could cut them any way you want. And then I'll cut about, I think it's about 1.5 inches maybe. So you could cut them any size you want. And there you have it, rainbow cookies. Bon appetit, everyone, enjoy. I need a cup of coffee with this. Cheers.